right, ready. Showtime.
He loves it.
I know, I'm an American show-off. What can I tell you? You know, I'm sorry.
You love the show.
But thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
You're welcome.
I am fascinated by your acquisition of Heesen. I'd love to know a little bit about, are you crazy buying a shipyard? Like, tell me what passion has driven you to acquire Heesen?
I think I'm very crazy. Otherwise, you don't buy a shipyard.
You've got courage.
Yes. No, so I was not looking to buy a shipyard. Let's put it clear. So I was informed, through some networks that the Heesen company was for sale, and it was a very quick process. I was informed, so I contacted Heesen, and they said yes, we are running a process, but you have to be very quickly because we are in the end of the process and we want to close in 4 or 5 weeks. I said, okay, I can do that, because I think that's probably was the best challenge for them to get me interested. Can you do 4 or 5 weeks transaction?
Right. Did they say that they had someone else interested?
Yeah, they had some other buyers,
Yep.
but I also felt that my background being a Dutch, obviously understanding the Dutch manufacturing industry, speaking the language, being a yacht owner, were all kind of drivers which were favoring me, because they were not only looking to sell the company, but also to put it in somebody's hands which could do something with it. So the continuation of the company was very important to them. So we did the due diligence. We agreed and negotiated to an SPA, and we closed in 5 weeks. So am I crazy? Yes.
Your team must have been working very hard.
I'm still doing the due diligence after the closing.
Yeah.
And no, so that
what drove
that
you
excited me.
What drove you to sort of do this?
I think if you ask what's driving me is curiosity and intuition. So in my life, I think you can make a spreadsheet and you can make analysis, you can make a budget, and you can obviously tune it. You have to do it, you should not do it. At the end, I think it's your intuition which is saying, do you want to do this, yes or no? I like to learn, especially, when I was in my, let's say, existing business in the packaging business. When I started when I was 25, I had no clue about the packaging business. I think I know a little bit more about the yachting industry, but obviously I'm new and I'm fresh, and I think that's sometimes an advantage. So you can challenge existing processes, why are we doing this, why are we not changing that? That's what I like about it. So I questioned myself, do I want to coming 10, 20 years be active in this industry? Want to go to a yacht show? Do I want to meet owners? Do I want to work with the engineering, making, let's say, outstanding new designs, creating new owner experiences, etc. And I said, yes, I love this so much. I love to be on the water. So what's nicer than owning a shipyard? And obviously I'm a businessman, so it's not that, it's a kind of a charity situation. So obviously we're going to fine-tune the organization and try to make it more successful and grow faster. And, I have big plans with it.
What does it feel like to be a Dutch yachtsman who's come up, had your career, and now you own a superyacht shipyard? What does that feel like?
I tell you, it's easier to buy a shipyard than to buy a yacht. Really?
Why is that?
It's kind of an easier process. Buying a yacht is kind of complicated because you want to have this, that, and that. So here, I knew Heesen. I visited Heesen 4 or 5 years ago. Obviously, I know the Dutch ship, being a customer. I went to all the manufacturers. And I was, being a manufacturing person, I was kind of a little bit disappointed visiting some of these, very high regarded shipyards, because from a manufacturing perspective,
from a technology
perspective, obviously I was manufacturing packaging products for food, so very sterile environment.
But super high tech, right?
Yeah, that is super high tech. And then you come to the yachting industry. Obviously, it looks very complicated. It is obviously very complicated. But it's still a lot of craftsmanship, and a lot of people are doing things on their feeling without really using, I think, science and new technologies like automation, robots, and those kind of things. So doing that tour, I figured out, hey, this Heesen, because obviously Heesen has a slightly different business model than the other Dutch shipyards. From a manufacturing perspective, was, I think, the best organized from what I've seen. One is related to the fact that They have a separate company where they build all the interiors. And that's quite unique. Not the other Dutch shipyards are not building their own interiors. And the interior, obviously, the finish is...
Do you like to build stuff?
I'm a builder.
You're a builder.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you've built
Factories,
companies, you've built factories.
Yeah. When I was young, I tried to construct things, etc. No, I'm not trained as an engineer, but I became kind of an engineer by practice.
Because you need to be able to understand all these things that are coming together to build whatever you're building.
Yeah, so in the packaging industry, I was understanding everything. So I was able to communicate with the engineers, with the customers.
Is that what
with the
made you
quality
successful?
department.
Being able to understand and communicate?
Yeah, because I think, I think is in general with an entrepreneur, you need to understand the complete processes. You need to understand the accounting, you need to understand the legal side of the business, the engineering, the sales process, the marketing. You don't need to be the expert, so you need obviously to surround yourself with the best people in those expertise. But you need to create a mix out of all those expertise, which, and a business model and a strategy which is working well for your company. And you need to be able to look also many times on the details, because the devil is in the details. So if you build a new product, if you develop a new product, the details are really making the difference. And I think the same is on the yacht.
Well, the details, I mean, in the yacht are everything, right? I mean, that's what makes Dutch
noise
shipbuilding...
levels, vibration, experiences, routing. There's so many things on the yacht. With wind, for example, everybody underestimates. I mean, look what a windy day we have. If you're out there on your yacht and you don't have protection, where do you sit? Where do you enjoy the yacht?
Right.
And that's kind of thing. So you need to position yourself. Okay, how is the person going to use the boat? Obviously, if somebody's living in Asia and it doesn't like to be in the sun, they use the boat in a completely different way than a European person or a person from the Middle East. So I think also that's something new for the yacht industry, that obviously the clients are becoming more global, more diversified, younger, older, so they have different requirements.
And the clients are into and interested in the build process as well, right? Do you find
Not
that?
all the clients.
Not all.
Some clients even don't show up, during the building process, and they just get delivery of the yacht. And some clients are very involved. So it depends really on the client.
Now, I understand that you are a yacht owner, and we were talking a little bit about windsurfing. Can you tell me a little bit about what lights you up about being on a yacht?
I think it's more being on the water. I think it doesn't depend whether you have a 30-foot speedboat or you're on a superyacht. You have the same feeling. It's all about the freedom to go wherever you want to go, to sniff the water, the salt. I think the scenery from the water is beautiful. So for me, I love to be on the water side. I love to swim. I love to do all the kind of the water sports. I think if I go out of the port, you feel I'm completely released. If I do a kite surf session of 2 hours, it's almost like meditation. I don't think about you're working with the wind, you're working, with the wave, with your body, and then after 2 hours, you're completely relaxed. And that's the feeling I really enjoy on being on a yacht too.
Is that kind of what drove you to get a yacht in the first place? Was that ability to unplug? I mean, you got a busy, stressful life.
It's a combination of having your family together, because I think the yacht is one of the best ways of spending quality time with your family. I think it's the explorer, the discovery, to go to regions where you haven't been. And obviously, with the yacht, you go there in a luxury way. It is, coming to a new location, taking your bikes and, try to discover what's going on that island. I think I love that, finding a nice restaurant, doing exercise, doing sport. I think this whole exploring and discovery, and that's, I think, the curiosity, what is going on in the world, I think that's amazing. And also the underwater world, diving underwater, swimming to the coast. I think those kind of experiences are magical.
Do you get away with your family? Is the boat and sort of being out on the water with your family, is that one of the main reasons or ways that you all connect?
Yes, last Christmas we were for 3 weeks in the Caribbean. I invited my parents, all the children were there. You have
kids that are a range of ages?
Yeah, my oldest one is 29, the youngest one is 7, and a lot of them are in between. And that's also nice because for the crew, for example, it's kind of challenging because the younger one, he wakes up at 7 o'clock and he wants to have his breakfast. And then sometimes the older ones are coming back because they have been partying and they come back in the morning at the same time. And that makes it, I think, a beautiful experience. So I think being a family person, there's no better way to enjoy your family because you have them in a way close together. Everybody has his privacy. You have obviously all the servers, all the sport activities you can do. You can go to all the locations. So the one wants to go to a beautiful island and do a hike. The other one wants to go kite surfing and wants to go to a location where there's wind, and you can, participate in that. I think that's as a father, that's really driving me.
Is it interesting for you to be involved with the design process?
Oh yeah.
Like, tell me about that because that's fascinating to me. Do you have like a blank sheet of paper? Do you have an idea in your head?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you design, a product development process always starts, okay, what do you want? So,
Are you solving a problem or are you creating a dream?
yeah, I think it's a combination.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's a combination. So you get the kind of, okay, what are the requirements? What do I want? Do I want to have a spa? Do I want to have a fitness? Do I want to be
Water sports.
outside water sports? So all those requirements, come to a kind of list of specifications, and then you can obviously play. I think what is nice about Heesen is that we have existing hull platforms on which we can build, those, let's say, customized requirements. So other shipyards, design a hull for every kind of application, which obviously means a lot of risk, a lot of extra investments, and
A lot of time.
So we take existing hulls, which have proven themselves, and then we build the platform and the requirements of the customer on top of that that hull, which reduces investments, reduces lead time, and I think and still gives you all the flexibility to design the boat or the yacht which you like to have. But for me, designing a product and there is nothing, and then creating it. And then suddenly, after 4 or 5 years, see the yacht into the water. That's amazing.
That must be like so gratifying, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like coming up with something, you're making something that doesn't exist before.
Yeah.
So I visited the Heesen shipyard last week, actually.
Ah, perfect.
And I actually practiced welding for the first time.
I know that. I did that
So-
too. Were you able? Were you hired?
Yes,
or not?
I was hireable. They wanted me to start at 7:30. So watch the space. But no, what was really fascinating for me and what really drove the point home for me is that the boat is all these little pieces that fit together like this it's almost like a DNA, the way it fits
so
together.
many components going on.
So many components.
You
And I
know,
was just fascinated by
how many kilometers of cable is going through
yeah,
through a boat?
right,
Yeah.
right. And what also struck me was that how the craftsmanship, the Dutch craftsmanship is legendary, but it's not legendary for no reason. I mean, there's really a level of craftsmanship I haven't seen other places.
I'm probably not familiar with the Dutch, let's say, manufacturing industry. But what is nice about the location where we are with Heesen is that we still have a lot of Dutch people. So we have still craftsman people. So the father is working for our company, and the son is working for our company. And that's much more difficult, for example, if you go in Amsterdam region, so what you see in those shipyards, the Polish people are coming in, and so it's not really a real Dutch heritage. Even the hulls, everything what we do, you have seen we make hulls ourselves. Everything what we do is built in Holland, built by Dutch people. Also, the fact that we have our own engineers, so many shipyards, outsource their engineering. We have all the engineering expertise in-house. Between interior, between naval architecture, you name it. And that gives us a big advantage compared to other shipyards. The location where we are still having access to Dutch craftsmanship. Also the location, I don't know if you visit our interior
No, I
factory.
didn't, not yet, but I will.
That's a pity because, in fact, I realized I've bought 2 companies. One is the shipyard building, and the other one is the interior manufacturing unit of Heesen, which is a factory by itself. The fact that we do that in-house gives us really an advantage over our competition because the coordination between the shipyard and the interior manufacturing is highly automated and we can make really superior interiors, in-house. And obviously, if you buy a yacht, obviously it's the seaworthiness, it's the hull, it is, the engine room, etc. But as a customer, what you experience is the quality of the finishes.
Right. Are you like a conductor of a symphony?
No.
Or
no.
maybe that's not the right word, but Like it seems like because there has to be sort of all this coordination with all these different
I think
elements.
what I love is to think about innovation. What's the new next thing?
All right, so what's the new next thing?
Yeah, I tell you, the new next thing. What I see in yachting is I see an opportunity for yachts which are not cruising, so floatable hotels.
Oh,
I think that could be very interesting because you have a customer base which are less interested in going out and in the waves in uncomfortable conditions, but just want to experience the surface of a yacht. Because
right.
what is so nice about a yacht is you have so many crew members which are hidden in the boat. You hardly see them, and they provide you top service. You don't see any of that kind of service in a hotel or in a home because it's not set up for
Right.
it. So a yacht can offer that. So I see that for certain regions where a lot of wealth is created, I think that's going to be a new concept. Then the explorer, the discovery to go to regions where Antarctica, to.
Have you been to Antarctica?
No, but it's
Yeah.
it's on my
Yeah,
bucket list, so
right.
I'm certainly going to do that. So I'm going to build a boat at Heesen which can do that. But what you see with those explorers, they typically look very army, very ugly. So if you want to convince your wife, I want to own a boat like that, she say no.
Yeah.
I want to be on this nice, good-looking yacht. And I think there's a world where you can combine the two. So that's I think another area where I see a big future for Heesen. Obviously, I think what's nice about our portfolio, we can make fast displacement hulls. So people, we want to go fast from Miami to the Bahamas, anchor in shallow waters, we can provide that. Then you have this family lifestyle where we speak about, so you want the grandfather wants to take all his children and grandchildren on board and have them all together and, experience those beautiful moments, and memorable. I think that's you create great memories there. That's the second group. And the third group is, let's say, the more adventurers. They want to go to non-explored areas. They want to challenge themselves. They want to go kite surfing on a unique island. And I think those three groups, I see that as the future for the Heesen.
Do you think, I see the whole industry growing. I see the demand for yachts, not growing exponentially, but I mean, I see that as a pretty robust.
They're becoming more and more wealthy. Yeah. So if you look to the statistics, there are more and more wealthy people coming. They are in different regions, younger people, tech people, and I agree with you. And I think people realize that owning a yacht, is more than just throwing money out. Because at the end of the day, if you make money, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to die with it? Are you going to give it all to your children? Or are you trying to create experiences with your family or with your friends, which are more important and, in my opinion, more valuable than anything else in life? Because at the end of the day, we die, and then what do we have?
Well,
money on a bank account,
yeah,
or you have the beautiful memories,
right,
or your adventures.
Well, it's interesting you say that because in COVID, the order books for all of the shipyards just went through the roof, which just shows that people realize, hey, wait a minute,
That's another good point, because I've been thinking about it also with the threats of wars. What is a good platform, to escape? So I have a house in Mallorca. I was thinking I need to create an atomic cellar there, so if something happens, I'm safe. But then I realized the boat is the best thing. We were in Barcelona when the energy power cut was there in the whole Spain.
Wow.
We were on the boat.
With the disco and the DJ.
And everything was working. So everybody said, did you have... And I realized that, it's kind of a floating, independent platform island almost, which you can take everywhere, And I think, if you want to, create a safe platform for yourself, a yacht is an ideal platform.
Yeah, I mean...
and that's what you've seen in COVID, obviously. People realized that yacht would still give them the freedom.
Right. Well, I've spoken to owners, actually, who said... They talk to their buddies and they say, if you can afford a yacht, you should have one because the experience is so much better than anything else that you can do. Like, why wouldn't you, is what they basically say. Does that make sense?
Yes, but there's obviously sustainability concern, you know. So that's why I think we as a yachting industry have the obligation to focus on sustainability, zero emission, so that the consciousness of the owner is also right, you know. So obviously some owners don't care about it, but many owners do care about it. So I think that's something we as an industry we have to work on, to come up with platforms which are not considered, let's say, wasting a lot of fuel. I think that's a valid concern. But other than that, if you can afford it, you know, I would say go for it.
Yeah.
Obviously now even more.
All right. So,
but I would have said the same thing last year.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. And how long have you been an owner, a yacht owner? I mean, you've been in yachts your whole life, right?
Yeah, I was on the water my whole life, but I was able to buy my first boat. I took my captain license in the French language.
Wow.
Here in Monaco. And then I bought a 37 feet Pershing, I still remember it. And I started cruising and, you know, sleeping on the boat.
How old were you?
I was 30 years old.
And you'd had some business success?
Yes,
yep.
yes. Following business success, obviously, I was able to afford myself. And
right.
I thought, okay, now I'm going to buy it. And I loved it. I cruised from Monaco to Saint-Tropez, anchored on the beach, you know, slept on the boat, cooked, you know, showered, you know, and it was amazing. And then a few years...
What did it feel like when you bought it that first time? You know, when you had that first success?
And then taking it out as a captain yourself without experience, because that's the other thing. You get your captain license, but, you know, you don't know, you know, how to operate a boat, really.
Right.
You know how to go to...
And you can...
So to assess the weather conditions, to assess where, you know, is the depth and where can I anchor and which port can I go. And that's really exciting, I have to say. So I fell in love with it immediately. And driving a boat yourself is also a beautiful experience. So that's why I love to start with smaller boats. So you really grow into the yachting industry. So I understand also the captain. So if we go and we look for an anchor spot, I understand that if you throw the anchor there, the boat ends up there because the wind is coming from that direction. And that's helpful for the captain too. So I don't ask him stupid things. Right. Because I know what I talk about. And then I went to a 54 feet boat, 3 cabins. So babies born like this, few months old, you know, cruising, going to Corsica. So it was my first experience in, let's say, discovering the Mediterranean, going to Capri, Sardinia, those kind of locations, which are beautiful for yachting. Then I went to a 75 feet boat, still cruising myself.
You always had one. You would sell it and get the next one kind of deal?
Yeah, maybe there was 6 months in between. And if I had the 6 months period,
you were waiting for it.
I was in a hotel and looking outside, and the only thing I was looking at is at the boat. I think I want to be there. I don't want to be here.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, because also in the hotel, you know, you sit 1 or 2 days in a hotel at the pool, you look outside, so what do? You know, so, and that's the other thing is, you know, the lifestyle of a boat is obviously being very active and you can go hiking, you can do everything, which I love. So 75, I went to my first yacht, which was a 39 meter Dutch build, 6-7 crew. And that was an amazing experience. So that was, you know, okay.
That was the first time you weren't the captain?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was sitting and we were cruising, and then, you know, we started that whole night cruising experience, which I loved, you know. So we were on the boat for 36 hours cruising and going from one island to the other island. During the night cruising, you have the stars on the, you know, and the sea breeze, you don't see the land. Amazing with the family sitting in the jacuzzi warm, and I mean that was a fantastic experience. So I had that boat also for 4 or 5 years. Then I moved to the Cayman Islands, and the Cayman, a lot of yachts are registered in the Cayman Islands, but you don't have any yachting industry there. So I was a few years without boat. I started this whole kite surfing, learning, which I now combine with the yachting. And then I bought a 88 foot again to cruise myself. But then I slept on board, and compared to my Dutch built boat, all the noises, and I said, okay, now I'm fed up. I'm going to buy a Dutch boat again. So I bought a 61 meter Dutch built boat.
Well, I mean, I love that you can name every boat and every size and like what you were doing when you got it. I mean, you seem like the absolute perfect person to own a shipyard?
I don't know about that.
Well, because you have so
let's
much
revisit
experience.
that after 5
Well,
years.
you know, you might. I mean, the guys in the shipyard might not like you, you know, because you'll be going to know a lot and you're going to push them, right? You know, I would think, you know.
But that's also how I like to work together. So I like to challenge people, you know, and I think as a team, if you challenge, you know, if you want to be the best. So I believe that's at least what I foresee for Heesen. I just want to build the best boat and the best yacht. And the best yacht is obviously depends, you know, for everybody that's a different requirement. But if you build something which is outstanding, which everybody says, look at this, or you know, you come on board and you have 2-meter waves and my boat is hardly moving and you don't get seasick, or you have very low noise on board, so you can sleep. You don't know whether you're cruising or not. If you can bring that kind of experiences, you know, you don't have to sell it anymore. You know, people want to buy. You know, I think so. I want to create a product which people wants to own, and I don't have to sell. I don't need marketing. I don't need any of this. You know, I just want to build the best product. I did that in my other business as well. You know, in the packaging, if you just make the best package, you know, low cost, easy to function, easy to open, the consumer want to buy the product in that package. You know, you don't have to sell it. It sells itself. And I believe, so I want to put all our money in the engineering, in the innovation, in the manufacturing process, and to build iconic yachts where people will speak about. And I think that's the legacy of Heesen. You know, we built 70-meter yachts which were cruising 30 knots. If you can do that, can you imagine how easy it is to build a boat which is cruising 12 knots at a certain you know, noise level, comfort level? You know, a boat going over the water for 30 knots and still everything is working. You know, that's amazing. So that legacy we have in our company, and I want to build on that legacy of being able to build the best yachts, best interior, and to build an experience for the owner, you know, he's dreaming about.
How do you build an owner experience?
I think that's also very nice about this industry. You always meet very interesting owners. I mean, I just explained you how I experience and
You're an interesting owner.
But you have many interesting.
Yeah, that's right.
I would say every owner is a very interesting person, because if you can afford to buy a yacht, it means you have an interesting philosophy in life. And what I like about it is to engage with those people and to learn about, you know, how they experience life and what is driving them and why they are motivated and what do they want to accomplish. So if you're 70 years old, you have seen and done everything, what do you want to do, you know? Do you want to get 100, and how do you want to live your last 30 years, you know, in a nice way? And so I'm now in a happy position that I can meet all those people with their dreams, you know, and see how we as Heesen can contribute to those dreams of the people.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Because many people, you know, at a certain moment you come in a situation, obviously you have created wealth, you know, so that's tick the box. But what else do you expect in life? You know, you want to create a spiritual life. For example, I went 2 weeks ago to India, do meditation, yoga sessions. Now I think, okay, we were wearing pajamas. And I think, okay, now I'm going to use the pajamas for my crew. So next time, if you come on my boat, the name of my boat is Samadhi, which means, you know, the upper level of concentration in yoga. So that's a nice experience, you know. So I want to create this yogi experience on my yacht. So so that the crew is dressed up in that way. So the creativity, you know, and what do you want to accomplish in life? And for example, for me, meditation was new. But I love now I do meditation on my yacht. It's amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a holistic, just being out on the water.
Yeah.
And that's another way of being creative, in that you're not just creating a yacht or creating a party platform, but you're creating a lifestyle platform.
Yes. Yeah, and a house or a villa is probably the same. Or a car. Some people obviously are crazy
you into
about
cars?
cars. No, not so much. I mean, I have beautiful cars, but it's not exciting me.
Are you into boats, like the most thing, like boats and kite surfing in the water? Is that your thing?
I have also ski boats. So I have different kind of boats. So for me to be on the water and I'd rather spend my money on boats than in anything else.
Yep.
So I'm not a big spender in general, but when it's on boats, I do like this.
Right.
Just enjoy it.
Right. All right, so thank you for the time. This has been a really interesting conversation. What's the one question that I should have asked you? Is there a question that I missed? What's something that you'd like to?
Yeah, I think what you didn't ask is what I want to change in Heesen. So what is Heesen obviously has a great reputation today, where everything what we do today has an influence on 4 or 5 years, because that's kind of the building period of a yacht. So if we design now, if we change new designs, if we introduce new concepts, that means that in 4 or 5 years you are going to see it. But it means also organization, and the image of the organization, I think, is also very important. I think the Dutch are very humble, and especially the people from
Just
the
like me.
south. I think you're more kind of a show-off guy.
I know, and I'm making fun of myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Dutch are very humble, and I think what we can do as Heesen, I think that we are serious. If we promise the yacht will be delivered on that time, it should be delivered on that time. I think that's the strength of the Dutch shipbuilding. So we should keep that. But at the same time, we can become a little bit more intriguing, a little bit more sexy, a little bit more convinced about our product. So why
Have some swagger.
Exactly. So why is and by that create, let's say, an environment which you see, for example, with the Birkin bag at Hermes or with the Ferrari, that you create this kind of vibe that people want to have, the Heesen yacht. That's my dream.
I love it.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
When are you signing for one?
Well, I do hope that the next time that we have this interview, that it'll be on your yacht.
Yeah.
All right?
Sure.
Is that a deal? Thank you so much for your time.
Cheers. You're welcome.